Happy birthday, Tenysia. No more 11. Now you're 20. No, 12T. Like, you're 19, but you're going on 20, but you're 11 going on 12.
Scouting, and there wasn't a stitch of wind. It was the perfect photo, stuff like that. Of course, the photo I took years ago, guiding up the top of mountains, and I got a whole pile of framed photos of myself and past clients.
I'm not sick. No, I'm sorry. I'm not sick.
Make that I'm gonna paint that, shoot it, paint it black, got all my framed memories all over. I think they're pretty cool. That's about it. That's the battle you get. What else? What else is new? Well, you know what? Unfortunately, a lot of people brought it to my attention. Not sure how to deal with this, but there's a friend of ours who has a channel similar to mine. He shares a lot of truth, cares a lot of people, and people brought to my attention that he's not swearing enough. I don't know what to do. I have to take him aside and have a one-on-one conversation with him and see if I can't get him to, ramp it up a little bit. Because, it's a little concerning when I get so many emails complaining about one of my friends not swearing enough on their videos. So I'll see what I can do. Thanks for letting me know. Anyway, let's get some voices heard. Let's get some way more important voices in mind heard. Who do we got? No subject for this email. This is a title. No subject. Hi, Steve. I feel it's important to reach out to you. If not for the importance of your service, but those impacted negatively by encounters with these beings. So, to the importance of the public to become aware of the bigger picture. Fully confident these beings have their own agenda. Some hostile, some benign. Roll dice. I'm not to say. I guess I would wish to testify to the need for all humans to do the best they can to propagate positive energy, whether it be towards these beings or our fellow humanity or both. I'm 56 years old and looking down the backside of the mountain of this existence. My main reason for reaching out to you is in hope that from your service on this planet is a noble venture. By my account at least, I'm an open-minded person. Judge not yet, lest ye be judged. There is more to our existence than is let on to the average Joe. I have no proof, aside from my own feelings. If, quote, I know stuff, I don't know how I know, I just do, end quote. This world may go on as it is, or it may not. It really doesn't matter, because it's all just a means to the end. Not cynical, just practical. When we as humans figure out how to come together as one love, we might find the answer. You can't blame people for being scared and staying ignorant, unless we are able to take the leap of faith, relying on our own intestinal fortitude. It is our responsibility as beings with the knowledge of our strive for enlightenment to help to bring the knowledge to those who are lacking. Provide the knowledge. It's up to them and what they choose to do with it. There is an amazing beauty to this life, including the bad with the good. It is not about the destination as much as it's about the journey. Thoroughly enjoy your channel and kind of wish I could share a campfire with you, but, it is what it is. Doesn't detract from my admiration of you, brother. I hope life stays positive, peaceful, and enlightened. Positive energy for you and yours, brother. All life is sacred and is connected. We are apex predators for a reason. I admire hunters, or what true hunting stands for. We do what I wish not to, but could if needed. Sincerely, Kurt A. Stewart. Kurt, I appreciate your positive message to myself and everybody else. Absolutely appreciate it, man. I have a feeling most of us go through life on a positive side, don't we? It's funny, I've noted for many years now that it's far easier to market hate and anger than it is happy. I don't know why with humans. It just is kind of odd, isn't it? There's some very, very small, very remote rural communities I've spent a lot of time in over the years. And I notice small communities are sometimes a bit more because you would stand out easier. What I'm trying to say is, I used to always say, I can take everybody from this community, sit in the stop shop right here. 4 of them are going to be absolutely joyful, happy topics. One that's going to be miserable, piss me off stuff. And you know what? Sad that the majority of the people who pick the miserable topic and you're running with it. I don't know why. But anyway, I like to think most of us here are on the positive side. I hope. And I hope we encourage everybody else to be as well, right? But anyways, thank you for that positive note, man. Appreciate it. I agree. Okay, what's this title? This is title. Sasquatch or what? Steve, how are you? I am doing great, thank you. My name is Mark McWhirter, and I'm from Western North Carolina. I have a story to share from my youth. I'm 48 years old, and I was around 10 to 12 years old when this incident happened. I had a lot of cousins on my mother's side, as she had 4 brothers and 2 sisters. My dad was the only child. Anyhow, all my cousins, my favorites, were 2 girls, Amy, who was 2 years older than me, and Lynn, who was 3 years older. We were thick as thieves. Lynn taught me how to ride my first dirt bike, a Honda 50. I got for my 4th Christmas, and I've been a speed demon ever since. Me and Amy were at each other's house every other week or so. So it just so happens that this weekend, me and Lynn were spending the weekend at Amy's. We all lived in rural areas within 15 minutes of each other, but Amy was closest to the mountains. During this time, there had been reports of a big bipedal animal in the area, and it had been nicknamed Nobby because it was first sighted on a mountain peak called Ben's Knob. So, we were exploring the woods on Amy's family land, over 100 acres. Her dad was half Cherokee, and her grandmother and grandfather were each half Cherokee. Sorry about the long description, just try to convey the facts. We'd been playing hide and seek and climbing trees. We were just walking along, getting deeper into the woods. We discovered a leg. Yes, a fresh leg, covered in reddish fur and had a hoofed foot. It had fresh blood on it, where it had been ripped off of an animal. Well, that freaked us out, but we kept walking as we were getting close to a clearing that we were familiar with. When we got to the edge of the field, we saw it. A super large, heavy-set bipedal creature. Its coat was dark, reddish, black color, just about 100 yards away. Me and Amy were just staring at it, not making a sound, when all of a sudden, Lynn proclaimed loudly, "It's a bear." Well, it was not a bear. It heard her and turned around and dropped the source of the leg. A red limousine bull calf. Before the bull calf hit the ground, we were hauling ass out of those woods. Lynn was a tomboy and was big into sports. Amy was also a tomboy, but wasn't really into sports. I was the small for my age, but I was very athletic and really fast. Lynn had always been sure that she was a faster runner than me. She was the last one out of the woods. We were terrified of what we saw. I didn't get a great look at his face, but I'm sure it had a snuff. I was actually talking about this with Amy not even 6 months ago, and she said that she thought about that experience all the time. We told our moms what we saw, and as soon as my dad and uncle got back from their side job, which was reupholstering furniture, we took them to the leg in the woods and to the clearing where we saw it. There was a smaller sized pine tree next to where the creature was standing. My dad was a small guy, only about 5'8". My uncle was taller. He was closer to 6'2". The creature was way taller than my uncle. We figured at least 7 or 8 feet tall. What's spooky is a muddy swipe was found on Amy's house about 10 feet off the ground. Also, after our encounter, Lynn said something was tapping on her second-story bedroom window. She actually looked once and said she saw a big clawed finger tapping on her window. How strange is that? Now, I never had any type of contact at my house, but I will tell you about something very strange that happened to me when I was younger, before the creature encounter. I walked through the woods on my property to get some tomato tomatoes out of our garden. Tomato tomatoes out of our garden. I heard rustling in the treetops, and I saw a giant hawk or eagle. This thing looked like it had a 20-foot wingspan. Excuse me, dusty in here. I told my dad, and he said a few days earlier he saw the same thing, but didn't say anything because he figured his eyes were playing tricks on him. I know this is kind of a long email, but I need to mention one other thing that happened around the time that I saw that giant bird. Once again, I was in the garden looking for good watermelon. Now, I've always been amazed with astronomy and liked looking through my telescope. Well, this particular day, the sky was clear, and you could see the moon really good. As I was looking for a watermelon, I kept looking up at the moon. Now, for the weird part, I looked up and I saw a very big triangle-shaped aircraft. When I say big, I mean football field size big. I've told anyone about that and had almost forgotten about it until I saw a documentary on strange phenomena. Anyhow, that's my story. Feel free to share it. You can use my name. Thanks for your honesty and willingness to bring these subjects attention. Thanks, Mark. Mark, thank you. And we can't get things brought to attention without people like you, right? You know what? I have a funny feeling that when that dude murdered that calf, it probably sensed you guys coming and tore that leg off and left it for you. Intentionally thinking it was counterattacking it, kind of a somewhat maybe a bad thing with a bit of a good thing. It's like, hey, I'm going to take your calf, but here's a chunk for you guys anyway, because you're obviously coming looking for it or something, maybe possibly, right? I don't know. That's a hell of a thing for a bunch of kids to see. That's just scared the absolute shit out of you, but no doubt your cousin thinks about it all the time. I know I think about it all the time, but I saw it. Can't get out of it, can't escape it. It's a life sentence. It's above no return, right? Yeah. But maybe if you want, share this video with your cousins so that they know for sure that they're not going crazy. And there's literally tens of thousands of other people who've had the exact same experience. Less the calf. Right? Anyway, moving along. All right, this next one is titled Puzzle Piece. Dear Steve, feel free to use my name. First, thank you for what you do. Your generous spirit shines through, and you are a precious gift of the people. I've traveled the world in my military career, never encountered any of the poorest people, but I have believed in their existence as long as I can remember. You recently asked the people if anyone's view has changed since watching your show. Well, I can tell you my mind has been changed dramatically. I was previously convinced Bigfoot was Gigantopithecus. However, since watching your show, I'm now convinced otherwise. I believe they are something altogether different now. Recently, I awoke from a sound sleep with a Bible verse in my head, so I got up and looked it up. What I found shocked me, and here it is. King James, Genesis chapter 6, verses 1 and 2. Quote, it came to pass when men began to multiply in the face of the earth, and daughters were born unto them. But the sons of God saw the daughters of men that were fair, and they took them wives of which they chose. Then in verse 4 it continues. There were giants in the earth in those days, and also after that when the sons of God came unto the daughters of men, and they bare children to them, the same became mighty men which were of old, men of renown. To me, sons of God are angels, creating with human women and creating a whole new race of giants, mighty men, men of renown, describes what I've been hearing from the majority of stories on your show. Savvy people are said to have special powers, i.e. mind, speak, shape-shifting, super strength, etc. Sounds like an angel-human hybrid to me. Hope this helps someone. I know it has provided me with a very large puzzle piece. God bless you and yours. Stay the course and stay safe. The tyrants of the world will be brought down. Respectfully, Rick Miller. Well, I hope they do get brought down, Rick, but I got a funny feeling that we are all supposed to be taking them down. But like I said the other day, we keep looking at our screens and not looking up, right? And stuff keeps getting fed to us, and we look at it and scroll to the next item. Not doing anything. I'm guilty too. Anyway, you never know, man. Thanks for sending that on. I know there's a lot of people here aware of that same scripture without any doubts. That is emailed to me numerous times. What's this? I just gotta make sure it's about somebody who's got a crazy thing. Alright, let's have one. Alright, this next one's titled Buffalo Bill's Autobiography, Indian Account of Giants. In the public domain, quote, an autobiography of Buffalo Bill, Colonel W.F. Cody, Buffalo Bill, 1846-1917. The below is at the very end of chapter 6. No need to credit me, Kurt Washington. Quote, while we're in the sand hills, scouting the Niobrara country, the Pawnee Indians brought into camp some very large bones, one of which the surgeon of the expedition pronounced to be the thigh bone of a human being. The Indians said the bones were those of a race of people who long ago had lived in that country. They said these people were 3 times the size of a man of the present day, and they were so swift and strong that they could run by the side of a buffalo, and taking the animal in one arm, tear off a leg and eat it as they ran. These giants, said the Indians, denied the existence of a great spirit. When they heard the thunder or saw lightning, they laughed and declared that they were greater than either. This so displeased the great spirit that he caused a deluge. The water rose higher and higher till it drove these proud giants from the low grounds to the hills and thence to the mountains. At last even the mountaintops were submerged and the mammoth men were drowned. After the flood subsided, the great spirit came to the conclusion that he had made men too large and powerful. He therefore corrected his mistake by creating a race of the size and strength of the men of the present day. This is the reason the Indians told us that the man of modern times is small and not like the giants of old. The story has been handed down among the Pawnees for generations. But what is its origin, no man can say. Well, how interesting is that? I'm sure a bunch of sleuths are going to look into that, right? That means before the white man came to the bottom. That's freaking interesting, isn't it? And I can at least confirm that there are sea creature fossils all over the place in the Rocky Mountains, way up where we are hunting mountain sheep. That's a fact. Seen firsthand numerous times. Interesting, right? Very interesting. Okay, I don't know what this is about, but I'm going to start reading. Hopefully it's what we're here for. Steve, I was enjoying those vast backgrounds, which give me a fresh breath. Here's a quick family story. Going through old photos, I found a picture of my grandfather, William John Wagner, from Albuquerque, New Mexico. Rest in peace. The story came to mind as my arm hairs stand up. I heard him tell his wife, while I was with him at family gatherings in my youth, I'm over 60 now, he and his World War I fishing buddy were somewhere along the San Juan River, east of Four Corners, New Mexico, back in the 1940s. His buddy was further west and around a bend in the waist-high water. Grandpa would light up in heightened expression when he always got to this part, and his eyes would get big and describe his friend's startling screams at the top of his lungs running into sight around the bend from the west about 40 to 50 yards away. His friend is waving his arms over his head with no rod in sight and making his way through that water hazard with a Sasquatch in tow. He was solid black and at least 10 feet tall, with the surface water was up to its mid-calf area compared to them at waist high. Loudly roaring and waving his arms overhead, as Grandpa said, he rushed forward with his rod and got between his terrified friend and the mock-charging Sasquatch, as he called him, to Grandma's disapprovals. Grandpa started yelling louder, and the charge stopped. He said they had a loud argument at 10 feet there on the river about which days they could fish, so no more surprises. They fished the river many years after that, and this is the story as told to me. It's okay if you don't read the others. Imagine the database you're getting. Wow. God bless John Gattle. Amen. That's quite the story, isn't it? Hard to picture a man bolting forward with a fishing rod to argue about fishing rights with a 10-foot-tall hairy being charging, waving its arms. Not too many people could pull that off, right? It's quite the story. All right, what do we got? This title, Northern California Girl Scout Camp. Greetings, Steve. You can say my name. I don't think you wrote it down. Thank you for all the brave members of this club and kind family that follow and share. I want to send my heart out to the sweet soul who bravely told us what she had endured as a native child of the First Nations people. I hope she knows how her pain has stirred so many of us to share this truth like wildfire. I have to admit, over the past 2.5 years, I've been lulled off to a good night's sleep more than once by your calm, monotone reading of stories and accounts of experiences. I'm not the only one here who will have to come off you like a NyQuil junkie if your channel ever gets banned by the power-tripping forces at large. I've heard many folks talk about how they have buried or repressed memories of encounters, but how certain pieces or situations shared by others awaken in them a familiarity and unlocks a memory from the past, generally from under the age of 12, or so it seems. I also have deliberated and questioned my own childhood memory of an event that I believe happened around 1980-81 while having a camp out with my Girl Scout troop number 42. This was the second such trips we took up north past Calistoga in the Napa Valley, Northern California, so I was familiar with the sights, outbuildings, and connecting trails. I have other vivid memories from this camp out, particularly because I was at that awkward age where strange things start to bloom. I was the smallest in my troop, and there were also Boy Club Scouts camping that weekend. Story for another time. As I recall, I was getting very car sick on any winding roads, feeling sloshed around in the GMC van. After we pulled into camp and set up our tents, everyone else went to the chow hall. I stayed in my tent and laid down, vomited a few times, and felt much better. Joined the rest of my group, who had gathered on benches around the big campfire after dinner. We sang our Girl Scout songs and some other funny tunes. When it was time for bed, we all begged for a quick game of hide and seek. The troop leaders had no choice but to surrender to 12 high-pitched, relentless preteens. So the counting starts and we all scramble to find the best hiding place. I run into the cinder block restroom. There were like 3 girls in there. I laid on the ground by a bush for a second, but it was not a good spot. And I saw a great pine tree about 30 feet from the flagpole and trash cans with a dark canopy. I sneaked down to the tree, undetected by the seeker. I caught my breath and leaned my back up against the tree under its dark umbrella of boughs. I started to hear a voice in my head saying something like, "If you don't want to be seen, slow your breathing and turn your eyes away. Don't look at anyone. Become nothing. Become what surrounds you." I turned my head down and to the side and closed my eyes to avert them. I relaxed my shoulders and felt a little dizzy, maybe from all the puking and running. My arms at my sides slowly reached behind me to cling onto the trunk of the tree to steady myself. Instead of feeling the sting of shaggy bark, which has always severely irritated my skin, I felt hair. Not fur, but thick, coarse, and knotted hair. I remember weaving my little hands through it to get a fistful so I could hold myself in place. I realized that my head was sitting comfortably on top and between what I think were knees. I did not feel scared. I did not look. I did not want to be seen. I just said to myself, "Thank you, tree. Now, shh." I feel like I was invisible under that tree's shadow for hours. I could have stayed even longer, content and feeling quite satisfied, when all the seeking had subsided and there were no more squeals of surprise. I knew I had to join my group at our campsite. I felt calm and happy and not one bit sick. I thanked the tree again, this time out loud, as I emerged from inside it. I fell to my knees after tripping over its big roots. When I got to the flagpole, I looked back at the tree. It was pretty much dark, but with the light on the flagpole, I could barely see the big, shaggy, hairy legs and feet that blended in perfectly with the bark of the tree trunk. Realizing then I didn't trip on roots, I tripped over those big man feet. I felt like I'd been given the secret gift of invisibility. I felt special until I was disappointed that nobody even knew I was not with the group or even missed me, or that I had out-hit everyone else. And I felt like if I told anyone about the gift of invisibility, it would be taken from me. But I guess the cat's out of the bag now. I'm most interested to hear from anyone else who may have had any odd experiences while at that scout camp north of Calistoga. Yes, I know what you will say, Steve. If you found this channel and wrote in, then you already know. But a bit of education wouldn't hurt either. For sure, I get it. I recently moved to 10 acres outside of Nevada City, California, in the foothills of the Sierras. On one occasion at 10:30 p.m., I heard two loud roars that I could feel rattle my chest with no words to say. So loud and so far away, yet so loud. I'm trying to learn from the wisdom offered around here and prepare myself mentally as to how best to deal any potentially fearful encounters in a non-threatening and assertive way. Thanks for all you do, Steve. Heidi W. Ooh, that's quite the frickin' story, Heidi. I'm surprised it wasn't I'm surprised you didn't add in a stinker smell. But I'm starting to think they do that to us intentionally. Actually, I've thought about that for quite a while. That they possibly do that intentionally. Or, and one time I mentioned it to Dave, and he somewhat agreed in a way. Just made a quick mention one day that I thought that maybe the scent was residue from, could it be a portal opening? I don't know. Is it residue from one of these beings come into this vibration plane? I don't know. Maybe he thought so too, possibly. Who knows now? You can imagine his knowledge base must be as well, too, right? Right up there, I'd imagine. But anyway, that'll be interesting to see if anybody chimes in the comment section below. So, you went to any of those scout camps, boy or girl scouts, and you know of something like this, then either email it to me at sharemystoryhowtohunt.com or comment back to this lady on in the comment section below this video. All right. Thanks again for sending that email. Absolutely appreciate it. All right. So our one's titled Power to the People. Hey Steve, first off, thank you for providing an outlet for people and speaking the truth, no matter what anyone says. The truth will eventually set us free, and no, we both believe that. The lies that have been covered up forever are slowly coming into the light, and it's people like you who are really helping that happen. I'm eternally grateful. I've listened to almost all of your videos, and every single Sasquatch Chronicles, among hundreds of hours of everyone else who has credible information for people. I've never seen a Sasquatch, but I know they exist all over this planet. The closest thing I can say that happened to me was archery hunting in central Ohio. We've hunted there about 9 years on state ground, and I've heard of many encounters about an hour away. Last year I was getting into a spot that took about an hour to get into. I was heading up this small hollow in some pines about an hour before daylight. I'm not sure if you ever used glow tacks, but probably have at least seen them. But my experience was something that resembled a red glow tack in size. It may have been a bit bigger, but not much. Anyway, I was walking up this draw, and this red light, about eye level, was about 50 yards in front of me. It was super dark. I figured it was a red glow tack and just kept walking towards it. But when I got to where it should have been, there was nothing. There it appeared about 50 yards in front of me again. This happened 3 times. It definitely made me feel weird, not scared. My only thoughts were the coincidences with Boris and Sasquatch. There's nothing there though, and that was it. Eerie. Can't explain it. I just turned 40 and have hundreds, if not thousands of hours in the woods. I've been hunting since I was a young boy, and I've never had anything like that happen to me. On another note, I hate the people running our planet as much as you do, as well as most of the club. They're slowly stealing our God-given freedom and trying to destroy everything that is good in this world. They sure seem to be, don't they? It's kind of shitty. You know as well as I do that they're going to have to make a stand at that we're going to have to make a stand at some point and say no nothing more. I'm a pretty passive fellow, but this is getting out of control. And before they destroy everything, we have to make changes. Your channel is such a blessing for people, and the power it has in uniting people is real. I don't don't have a platform like yours, but knowing we are cut from the same cloth, I'm reaching out to you to help spread the word. I'm not sure if you listen to Jordan Peterson, but he's super solid and is genuinely trying to make a stand against these tyrants. He's creating a group of world leaders to oppose the WEF and the rest of the fascist pigs trying to steal their livelihoods. Fill my heart with great content to spread this word and post this video for me. These people genuinely care about people, and I honestly believe this is the ship that we need to jump on. Obviously, I want you to do their research, but I believe that most of the people who listen to your podcast feel similarly and can see this. We've been blessed to live the lives we live, and it's up to us to keep it that way. Come cruise through the mountains with you. In the ring, thanks so much. God bless Ryan Wentz. There's a picture of you with a cool buck. Nice buck, man. 23 archery buck. It's a beauty. Yeah, I agree, man. It's kind of shitty, you know. It's not shitty, but there's just so much information coming up. There's a lot of truth seekers of large audiences, and they seem to be picking up speed and gaining more attention. Thank God. I was thinking about the other day, like there's who I don't even remember his name. I should look it up before I scrap up, but I think it's the Minister of Defense in Britain. Just people are talking forward and verbally spat it out that Britain should go straight to war with Russia. That for me, I was trying to narrow it down which one's the worst, the current U.S. government or the British government, and I confirmed for me it's the British government's probably the worst one. We have all of us, the people didn't want to go to war. The people don't want NATO to become, okay, I'm going to bite my lip. I'm just saying. I'll get back to the point I was going to make. So there's this guy who's pushing for a nuclear power to engage in direct war with another nuclear power. That person, as far as I'm concerned, should be erased. Right? Think about it. These people are so caught up in their bullshit. They are taking our beautiful home, our mountains, our oxygen, our water, everything, and they're about to incinerate. Out of absolute ego. That's it. And these are the people that are in control today. It's kind of frustrating, and I sometimes think, well, here I'm bitching about it, looking at my screen, just like that meme said. The majority of the population isn't going to look up from their screen long enough, right? And here I am, I'm guilty. So what should I be doing? Should I be selling everything, going over there and taking one for the team and eliminating people like this? I don't know. Should I be trying to rally up people, creating funds to get people to get a grip on these evil sons of bitches and stop them from annihilating our home? You know what I mean? How are we going to do this? What are we going to do? It's got to be done. Something's got to be done in time, right? It's frustrating. But I guess when you have a large audience such as this and bigger, I guess part of the battle is keeping people informed, honestly, right? That's when I haven't done anything on the Rumble channel and shit, because I got a lot to share there that will get this channel deleted if it's shared here. So there you go. Keep spreading the word, my man, and I will keep spreading the word as well until that one day when maybe possibly we are called to make a difference. I'll put that, I don't even know what video YouTube channel that is, because I'm in my notes, I have no internet in this room, so I'll post that up in the comments, hopefully I remember to. If not, man, put it in the comment section below the video when you hear me read this, alright? Alright. What do we got here? I don't know what this is about, but I'm marking this red. It's titled The Prism at Lake Wenatchee. In July 1975, family reunion in Leavenworth, Washington. We took a day trip to Lake Wenatchee. It was a 20-minute drive. We took a car to the Winnebago. We took a car and a Winnebago to the lake for a picnic. The weather had changed from almost 80, sunny and beautiful, to extremely windy, cloudy, very cool. Two of my sisters drove in the car, and the rest of us in the Winnebago, maybe 6 to 8 family members. I was the first one out of the camper. I was 7.5 months pregnant. The door blew open against the motorhome. The wind was so fearsome. I went back in for a sweater. The area we parked wasn't much. No picnic tables, no bathroom, just a gravel area and a lake. First cloudy as it got, I thought I saw the sun shining on the lake. Something sparkly and glittery. I walked towards the lakeshore looking for that sparkle I noticed. Wow. It looked more like a crystal hanging from a tree moving in the wind. It keeps changing. Now it's a prism of light floating by itself. It caught me off guard. There was a weird row of trees that looked barkless and white like dead next to the shoreline. They definitely looked dead and upside down, with their dead roots pointing to the sky. I got close to where I thought I saw a prism. I could hear the waves rolling in, very choppy from the wind. The wind was loud as well. I turned to look behind me and heard my dad talking to my two sisters. He said my nephew was ill and wanted Mama. I guess everyone else is still in the motorhome. I turned towards the lake to get to the shore and check it out. I couldn't see the crystal/prism anymore. And just like that, all the noise was gone. I was watching the waves coming to the shore. I could feel the wind, but I can't hear anything. Now, I could hear a buzzing or ringing in my ears. To my right, I could see my sister and her son. He was bent over getting sick, but I couldn't turn to see them. I couldn't move. I could only move my eyes. I felt as if something was crushing me, very tight. I couldn't breathe regularly. It was very shallow breathing, as if I was being squeezed. My entire body was being squeezed and crushed all at once. I didn't know if I was going to pass out. My brain was foggy. I was screaming in my head. My lips would not move. I could only move my eyes. Oh my God. In my head, I was trying to pray, call my angels, please help me. What the hell? Help. What's wrong with me? I was so freaking out. I couldn't feel my feet. I couldn't see my feet. I think my legs are going numb. I'm so scared. I can't think clearly. Why am I still standing? I can't feel any part of my body. I can't feel my baby. I can only watch the water moving back and forth. What was I trying to do? Oh, please, Jesus. I could start breathing deeper. The fog was lifting. I can't feel my feet. Oh my God, I can see them. My feet move. My legs and feet were rubber, but I willed my body to move to the motorhome. I guess everyone is inside. I can't move my arm to the door hatch. My arms won't work. I bang on the door by throwing my body into it. Someone opens the door. I can't step up, I say. I can't step up, I say. I get a helping hand to pull me up. My whole body is numb. I start shaking. My dad says, we put all the food away close to an hour ago. Are you hungry? You must have taken a long trail. I think you were gone for 2.5 hours. I just need the bathroom, I said. But I couldn't get my arm up to turn the doorknob. I asked for help. My sister opened the door. I got sick and couldn't stop shaking. I went to the bed in the back and laid down, asked for a blanket. Whatever this was by the shore took me, held me, and was feeding on me until I asked for Jesus. Whoa. I've had PTSD for years along with nightmares. I was on drugs for anxiety and drugs for sleeping. I would wake up screaming and kicking. Let me go, let me go. My husband would lay on me until I woke up, holding me down, not being able to breathe again. It wasn't until 2012 I woke up, remembered what happened, and got off all the drugs. I still have PTSD, but dealing with it through my dog and nature. God bless you, Steve. You are the village hero for the platform you carry for us. And so following